Now presenting Mr. Mike Coyne, Governor's Hurricane Conference Board member representing the National Weather Service.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our next award is the Tropical Meteorology Award. It's presented to an individual or organization that has made outstanding or substantial contributions to the advancement and knowledge, application, or understanding of the hurricane forecasting and warning process in the state of Florida. Since 2004, Mr. Mike Boylan has been educating people about trends, model runs, and everything else tropical weather related through his website. He does not forecast, but his dedication and contributions to the citizens of Florida and providing tropical weather information in layman's terms, helping to explain what the forecast trends mean, and how to follow all the extensive maps, charts, and graphs located on his website, Mike's weather page, aka SpaghettiModels.com. The 2021 Tropical Meteorology Award goes to Mike Boylan of Mike's weather page.
Just click on Mike's page, Trump Donkey Nation. Well, there'll always be some haters. They don't understand. Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend, Mike, he's your man. And he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here at Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide.
All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. How's it going? Welcome. It's 9:19, and we go live at 9:19. It's our day. If we were to have a day, today is the day. 9:19, and we'll share the story of that one day. We got a lot to talk about today, but there is a funny story about why we say 9:19. One day we'll share it again. So I think we're gonna have a BOGO dog day because I swear these dogs are jealous of each other. I picked up Hunter and now Louis standing there looking at me. I swear these dogs get jealous. Oh my goodness. All right, well, hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning. This is Mike and Hunter. We're gonna talk weather. It's been a adventurous year tracking weather. Do you know we average like 1.5 hurricanes every year? 3 every 5. We've already had 3 landfalling hurricanes in the continental U.S., so might seem slow, but we've actually had 3 hurricanes. We normally only get 1.5. So, and we're probably going to have one next week. Yeah, they are Frenchie stuff. So, it's 8:19 in Panhandle. I know, Gail. I can't figure Central Time Zone out. Every time we go out of town, I get so dang confused what time it is. My car says one thing, my phone says another, the computer says another. I'll text Jelly. I've called Shelly everything. I'm thinking of Jelly Roll. Shelly. One time I'm like, what the heck time is it? When do I go live? So we're gonna, we say hello to everybody. We take our time. If you're new, welcome. Be patient. We're gonna go over everything. I'm not a meteorologist. I always make sure to make that clear. So please refer to National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service for official information. The tone that I get from a lot of internet anymore is some of this stuff's way too stressful and confusing. And so I'm putting this disclaimer out now. If models confuse and even been called fearmonger, then by all means stick to National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service. So not trying to do that to anybody, but we are going to talk about this system developing in the Western Caribbean, which is going to be here soon. So a lot of people asking about ABC. That's awesome. ABC are sponsor of the Daily Brew now for 5 years. They're family to me now. So hello everybody from ABC. We do have our Spaghetti Model IPA being debuted Saturday at Tampa Bay Brewing Company here. So hope to see a lot of you there. But you will be able to buy it. We're doing a special meet and greet at Winter Garden October 9th and a special meet and greet at Cocoa Beach on October 10th, 5 to 7 p.m. with free samples. And you can pick up a pack or two. So big shout out to ABC. We appreciate all that they do for me and my family, allowing me to do what I love to do. So we're going to talk about the tropics. Let me pull up the map here as we still say hello to everybody. So I'm going to say hi for a few minutes. Oh, you met me at the Coke 400. That's awesome. Let me do one more dog. Oh no, Louis, come here, buddy. I told you he was patiently waiting. Come here. Oh, your brother just clobbered you. All right, so it's a twofer day. Christina, I know they do flooding in Italy. Eric, I wish I knew more about it, but I saw some videos on X. It was bad. Emotions are high, Beth. Yes, and I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm trying to, keep everybody happy. Not trying to get anybody worked up, that's for sure. But we're going to stick to doing what we love to do. That's for darn sure. No sound. Should be sound. Good morning to Sharon. Good morning, Nancy. We got our brew crew over here. What's up, brew crewers? Katie, everybody. I'll say hi at the end there for you guys. Got the orange crayon. Yep, Katie. Puppies are good. What's up, Amanda Ball? Starbucks at Disney. Everybody always says hi from Starbucks at Disney. Hey, by the way, I heard a little inside info that the folks at Disney World watch. Hello, Disney World. We can get your banner on the website. How about that? My kids grew up at Disney World. What's up, Miss Bobby? Morning, Carrie from Panama. What's up, Fort Myers, Ohio? Kelly Townsend. I think we met before, didn't we, Kelly? Name sounds familiar. What's up, Port Orange? Port Orange had all that flooding during Ian. Oh, my God. Brandon, Southeast Louisiana. Holy cow, it's just up there, right? Were you affected by Francine at all? Jason Lamb, good morning. Julie from Cape Coral. Yeah, we did. I think I remember that. I think you live on a boat, don't you? Or you sailboat. The LRC, I've been following the unknown clasher, their unwoke clasher. Really don't know. I haven't heard too much about the LRC this year. Good morning, CJ from New Orleans. New Orleans. Is it two syllables? New Orleans or Orleans? Orleans. I guess it's two syllables no matter which way you go. Let's see. Hospital, Emily. Why are you in the hospital? Hey, we got a special birthday to Emily if you're watching. It's tomorrow, but Stephanie, that's for you. Immokalee, Florida. Now, if that doesn't say Florida, I don't know what does. That's down by the Naples area. So, ABC should, pretty much all the ABC should have it. Stephanie, yep, GFS. We're going to go over all the models. So, all right, so let's put Louis down and get into it. We're going to say hello at the end. So, pretty fast-paced here, so it's hard to read comments. I don't do it to be rude. And it's hard to go over individual locations. So we'll just kind of hopefully get some information. I'm going to go over the latest, give you some thoughts. Go from there. All right, Louis? You good with that? You can go take a nap now? We'll go camping next week. We'll go Talladega. We hope to go to Talladega. Hopefully this thing's gone by then. All right, so that's about it. I do have a sticker I wanted to show everybody. Check this out. I showed you yesterday. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Julie almost has it figured out. This is not the color, obviously, but we're turning the Storm Chaser into Hurricane Hunter, and I got these being, it'd be white, obviously, but these are going to go on my back tail gate. My Storm Chaser truck has been through 10 hurricanes now. Well, 4 majors. I think technically 2 tropical storms. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do a lot of drawing on this map, okay? So, I'm not worried about this one. Or not worried about this one. Okay? This first one here, almost every single model is doing that, okay? There's a lot of frontal line action here. We have no Bermuda High in place anymore, so don't worry about the yellow ones. They're going to be east of Bermuda. Might look like it's heading to Florida, but it's not. So we're not going to worry about those guys. So they upped our orange area to 40%. The orange area is anywhere they feel like it can develop. We don't have a true center yet. It is from a phenomenon called a Central American gyre, which I'm going to show you. It's really fascinating how these things develop. So we don't have a true center yet. That's why there's no X. Usually when they have an X, it means they have somewhat of a guesstimated center. So we don't have spaghetti models yet. So there's a lot of guessing going on, okay? A lot of Mets and folks are telling people don't look at models right now, but I'm the opposite. I'm like, we're within 7 days, right? I mean, these models are, they spend tons of money on models and tweak them all the time. If we can't trust models, man, we got trouble. So we have, I like looking at models. I mean, that's what they're there for. It's kind of silly to tell everybody don't trust the models when we invest so much in the models. So we're going to look at them all. So basically it comes down to this weird phenomenon here. The Central American gyre is going to spin up something. There's a frontal line dangling now that's going to help juice things up. So there's a little juice down there. All this is going to work together and try to wrap up. And you'll see how it happens. It's really crazy. Then here's what we got. We got a front coming down during the week. And we have a high pressure that's going to build over Florida. So my longtime followers, remember this. During Ian and during Idalia, we had intense heat over the state of Florida, indicating this high pressure. So I'm curious what it's going to feel like this weekend, this high pressure. If we get that same heat feeling, it was just a weird thing. But so this front is coming, and it's been the year of the fronts. The front, if the front's strong, and this develops quick, it's almost a guarantee it's going to turn and go Eastern Gulf. Almost a guarantee. So that's kind of where the models have been consistent with the strong frontal line, system lifting, racing on out of here by the weekend. Okay? The other scenario that's kind of been popping up is that this high is stronger. Let me draw a little better. The high is strong and this front is weak, creating a little more drift before that lift. So that's definitely a scenario I'm going to show because we like to talk about all the scenarios. So if you're wondering why some of the models are thinking that, they're not reading that the front line is going to be very strong. But again, we're within 7 days. You would hope that the models would start figuring this stuff out. I mean, maybe they're not good at cyclone genesis, but they should be good at frontal boundaries and strength of lows and stuff. So things should start developing as early as Sunday down here, Sunday and Monday, okay? And it's going to linger. It could be sitting right here Wednesday, Thursday. So we got a lot of days. Today's Thursday. There's a lot of days of watching this, I will admit. Things change, and they usually do. That's why a lot of folks hate the long-range modeling that I do, but that's always what we do. I've actually cut back a lot on this long-range modeling. We used to share 10-day stuff 10 years ago. Used to get some people calling out for the 10-day stuff, and now it's like, now they're mad about sharing 7-day stuff. I'm like, the easiest thing to do is just copy the, what everybody else copies and let it fall in place. But that's, anyway. All right. I put a lot of thought into this. Too much, obviously. That's why I drink. All right. So that's what we got. 40%. All right. So let's go into everything. So this is fascinating surface charts. Let's go into that a little bit. Okay. This kind of paints it in picture. I don't ever get any likes on stuff like this, right? If you want a lot of likes, you share the latest GFS, but you share stuff like this, nobody cares about this stuff. I care about this stuff. I used to not care about this stuff. I like it. And what it tells us is this. High pressure, let me show you here. These are timestamps. This is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we have a lingering front through the weekend. It's down past South Florida right now. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at that. Lingering fronts fuel potentially developing tropical cyclones. You hear about it all the time. Tails of fronts, tails of fronts, tails of fronts, tails of fronts. Well, we got a tail of a front. All right. We also have this coming into play here. See it? Pretty strong on the surface chart. This is that front that could kick our high pressure out of the way and allow a door opening for this low to develop and pull to the north. That's basically it. This front, how strong this front is how this thing is going to lift. But, several days to fester down here in the Yucatan. That's the thing we got to watch. Lowering, it's already got pressures down there lowering, but that's it. Everything in a nutshell. This front fuels the developing low, and there you go. And then we'll see where it goes from there. I got this map up. This is the coolest thing ever. I don't know why. I've never really shared it, but this is everything in a nutshell. This is so cool. These are winds. These are 850 millibar winds. But what you're going to see here is this is how a CAG setup works. Okay? So this up here is your frontal line that's already there. You won't really see it, but this is your juice. This is the moisture that's going to help feed down into this thing. But what we do in time here, just watch how this works. This is so fascinating. You already start to see the spin. Look at this area right here. And there you go. Look at that. And then it just, look at that. Isn't that crazy? Now this is the Canadian. But that is just the most fascinating thing of how a CAG setup works. Look at that. So that is phenomenal. How, we might see that actually as far as the physics of this, how it happens. So there you go. We'll see if that happens or not. But that's how it happens. Crazy, right? Look at that. All right. Enough about that. All right. So here's another cool map. This is a water precipitable map. This shows your current juice in the atmosphere. You can also see a lot of it down here kind of brewing, getting things in place. A lot of moisture to work with. We got this old frontal boundary. This is through Florida down through the Bahamas. This is extra juice. So this is moisture in the air. Just basically letting you know there's going to be some moisture to work with for this thing. All right. And again, here's the timing. I posted this morning if you're wondering. This is on Tropical Tidbits. But this basically is what I just said when we started, is the steering mechanism. Our developing system on Wednesday, high pressure over Florida with this frontal line. And depending on how strong this high is how far west it goes and all that good stuff. So I already talked about that. Now, let's talk about the ensembles. Okay? Ensembles. Typically, the GFS, OOZ, and 12Zs are a little more reliable, I found years past. I haven't tracked that this year. But in the olden days, 00Z and 12Z were your better reliable models. They got fed better data. So we'll see about that. We'll see. But these are the latest 6Zs. He just came out. This is through next weekend. Basically, a little more Gulf scatter. Definitely. Still paints the same scenario, believe it or not. Upper Eastern Gulf. And there are some members that are showing a weakening system down here. So that is the big question mark is, the Euro showing some of these not developing too. But that's what you're looking at. You're looking at 10-day, every run of the GFS, going a little bit more scattered, but yet still showing a strong system. You don't want to see red. Red is powerful. But there's the latest. Now, the run overnight, the 00Z, it keeps doing this. This is like 2 days ago, they were still showing a heavily eastern-weighted Gulf system. So very curious. The 12Z is going to come out about 1 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to see if it comes back. But that's been the GFS trend. And why am I showing the GFS so much? Because it's done really good this year. Okay, it's been a really good, reliable model. Some years it hasn't. This year it has. And you can see basically a lot of this depends on, formation. And if we get a lowering pressure, early in this weekend, let's say Sunday, Monday, the likelihood of this lifting is going to be even greater. Stronger systems have a tendency to want to lift up around the high pressures and get pulled to these upper level steering. So stronger system early almost guarantees this thing's going to be lifted up into the Eastern Gulf. So if you don't want that scenario, then you want a weak system that linger around here for a long time over land, because otherwise it's going to have time to strengthen. So anyway, that was that. All right, so let's look at the Euro ensembles. So that was the 00Z. So that makes sense, right? GFS has had an Eastern Gulf feel for days now. I'm not hyping it. I'm not wish casting. I don't want a hurricane hit me, trust me. So I just look for consistency in reasoning. And the reasoning is, historical systems that have formed in this general area east of the Yucatan usually go that direction. So the GFS is that. All right, so the Euro has been a little everywhere. Here's the latest overnight. So the Euro has not had a really good year with modeling, but which I don't know why. This is not the first time. It's done it several times this season. It's been really late to picking up things. But anyway, overnight Euro showing you two scenarios. One is this. All right, one is a weakening system that hangs out, maybe gets going later next week, and then maybe something brews there. But 10 days out, we're not going to go past a week here. So that's scenario number one. All right. Scenario number two is kind of what the GFS is showing, some sort of development here. And guess what? A lot of them start to lift and a lot of them start to go that way. So that's the two scenarios that are on the plate. All right. And and the only difference between yesterday's GFS or Euro here and the overnight is there's more red, meaning a stronger system could likely begin to brew here in the Gulf of Mexico. Remember, it's 51 members of the Euro, so there's not a lot. There's 10, 15, maybe 20, maybe, I don't know. So not quite half, but you get the idea. And then yesterday's Euro kind of had the same general thinking. Weak over here somewhere, but that just, I don't know. Seems very unlikely when you have so many models showing formation. But anyway, weaker goes west, goes to Mexico, could happen. But if it doesn't happen, the likelihood is a lift north to the east side. So this tells you a lot too. If this weekend we see lowering pressures, if confidence is high of development, throw those away, because that's not going to happen. NHC thinks it's going to happen, 40% now. So developing system here, almost likelihood this thing pulls to the north or east. A lot of runs are showing it farther to the west. A lot of questions people are asking me. Okay, so these are 51 members of the Euro, let's say, right? What I've learned over the years is the operational models run 4 times a day. If you get an operational run that puts something over here, let's say, but yet all this is happening in the ensembles, you generally want to see 51 members agreeing on one thing to have confidence, right? So 51 heads in the room, you all want them to think the same way. You got 51 people in the room thinking this, and then you got some random outlier doing that, and that's what everybody kind of thinks. So, but you got to look at the ensembles. Mike Clay, one of my mentors here in Tampa Bay area, explained to me ensembles. Oh man, John Sinning said he got COVID. Or what the hell? John, I'm watching you right now, buddy. Oh, you still want me there? Let's make sure. Oh man, that's a bummer. I'll text him later. Well, hopefully you get better, John, if you're watching. John Sinning. I think I'm still going. Drew wants me. That's right. This is just John. John's the weather guy. So we could talk about John when we're doing our show in the studio today. So anyway, you kind of discredit these operational runs when you have a majority of ensembles saying something else. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. So we're back to kind of. I guess if anything, there's a little more confidence that we still have a chance of something developing. Something develops here, then we're probably going to see something lift. I mean, that's just historical. So anyway. But for what we do and what we've done, let's look at all the models. Okay? That's what we're going to do now. TropicalTidbits.com. Everybody loves to look at these models, including me. First thing I do when I get up, before I even go to the John, I look at models. So anyway, individual discussions are impossible right now. But this we're in the stages of general direction and timing at this point. Jake, we should start to see it, I would say Monday, when things start to ravel. It is about a day later now. So, all right. So let's look back at the last 4 runs of every model just for fun. All right. Again, we don't have Invest yet, so we don't have spaghetti models or we don't have hurricane models, but we do have these. So let's take a look at the last GFS. I guess we'll look at the moisture because this kind of gives you a better idea of who impacts get what. So through the weekend, here's our juice starting to set up. This is Saturday. Actually, a little lower, excuse me. This is later in the week, actually, now. Here is Wednesday, starting to show 997 by the Yucatan. And it crosses on Thursday, develops, and then it slingshots it back to the northeast, to Florida. One model. But taking a little longer to develop, a little bit tick to the west, eventually feels that frontal line and shoots off to the northeast. So, and it's strong. Very strong. That was the 6Z GFS. All right. Overnight GFS. More the gap. This is a scenario that you don't want to see because any storm that forms between Cuba and Yucatan usually has a better chance of becoming strong. But here's what it showed overnight. This is on late Tuesday. Here's Wednesday. Splitting the gap already at 969. And then it goes north. 929. We don't have to talk about that. But it's one scenario. But notice it's kind of the same spot. Remember, a lot of the ensembles are still to the east. I did not put the 12-foot skeleton up yet. I'm still in a hold pattern. When you see the 12-foot skeleton go up, if you live around me, then we're okay. The 12-foot skeleton's still in the attic. All right, so that was yesterday's 18Z run. There's your development. This is Wednesday. So like I said, it's about a day behind. Yesterday I shared 3 models that were right here about the same time frame. Now it's a day behind, which isn't good. It gives an extra day to develop. Here's yesterday's GFS, 940, 936, and it went more west. That was yesterday. Then last night, let's go one more run. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yesterday's 12Z. Yesterday's 12Z, there's Wednesday. And then more of a sloppy system up into Florida there. So you get the idea on the GFS, right? 3 out of 4 are more upper eastern Gulf. All right. Euro's really not nothing at all. I mean, it's just totally, and maybe it's right, but it's been very weird this year. But here's what the latest Euro is showing. Crossover here Wednesday and gets down to BOC. Then it starts to do something with it, and then it just kind of meanders there, which that's a long way away. That's Sunday, 29th. Saturday. It's Saturday. So definitely believable. I mean, you know, we could have a weak area and then try to get festered up there in the lower Gulf. But that's kind of what the Icon's doing too. All right, and then another run of the Euro. Looking back at yesterday's 12Z Euro showed a little more lift up here. This is next Wednesday and Thursday. And it kind of kept a sloppy system up into Texas. Definitely, if you're a Euro lover, and Euro might be right, that could be a sloppy system up into the western part of the Gulf. So the Euro's definitely got more of a western, slower pace to it. And I'm sure that's what's keeping the NHC from even going higher on their chances of the development right now. The Euro AI has been all over the place. It started out consistent as heck, and now lately it's all over the place. But here's what the Euro AI is doing. Here's Tuesday, 1006 millibar. Starting to develop, crosses over a little bit. That's that high pressure building in. It goes way down to BOC, and then I don't know what the heck it does there. It just kind of it mingles with that frontal line and lifts it up out of here. Into next week. That would be next Tuesday, but that's a weak system. That's, festers down here through the week, lifts it up. So possible, yes. Yesterday's 18Z on the Euro AI does that. See, so the only thing I've learned with models over the years is when they change 180 from one run to the next, it's tough to even believe them. That's why ensembles are so important. But anyway, here was 18Z Euro yesterday, more up in the upper Gulf. The 12Z Euro AI yesterday was more into, middle to eastern Gulf. So you can see 4 runs, completely 4 different things here. And then yesterday's 6Z was over. So it's got definitely a little more western bias to it, but it's had a lot of runs, where it's kind of doing this turn back to the northeast. So the one thing it solidifies is something might try to develop. All right, Canadian's been pretty darn consistent. Here is Wednesday morning. This is the latest 00Z. The Canadian's been the most solid of all models this year too. It's been really good, and it's pretty much showing you that lift to the north Thursday morning here. Yesterday's 12Z on the Canadian. There's 985 pressure on Tuesday. Already developed, splitting that Yucatan gap, and it kind of does that same northern Gulf, kind of Florida Panhandle feel, upper Mobile. But that's very consistent, the Canadian. Another run of the Canadian, third run ago, there. So the Canadian's feeling that front line Wednesday, pulls it up fast, and lifts it up out of here. So, man, it's the most solid model as far as consistency goes. One more we're going to look at here on Tropical Tidbits is the Icon. The Icon is showing a 6Z, low pressure starting to show up on Tuesday. That's as far out as it goes. And then the 00Z showed the same thing, 1003 millibar Tuesday. It really drifts it west. So it's worth noting. It's just definitely on the Euro camp on that weaker west track. And yesterday's 12Z, a little more lift north. So you can see what's starting to happen here. It's starting to turn. So again, the Icon, two model runs, completely different thinking. So I like the consistent runs. I like the ensembles, and that's kind of where we're at with that. So anyway, that's that. Let me make sure here. I'm getting a text I got to answer. So, what do you think about that? I got to screenshot something. Hang on. All right. Hang on. This is the moment of silence, of the awkward silence. All right. All right, cool. All right. Windshield wiper effect, 100%. Korean motor. Yeah, let's look at the Korean. The Korean's been now a little lost too. I don't particularly... I lose faith in these models when they start getting all over the place, run to run. Try to look at a blend. Now, the latest UK, real quick. UK doesn't go out that far, but it's starting to show signs of a low pressure developing in the same general area. Middle next week, it's slower, but it's starting to show that wrap. It only goes out 168 hours. Let me go to Central America here. So it's actually a little farther south on the UK, but same general low pressure starting. Yesterday's 12Z was a little farther to the north, Wednesday. Actually, it's 12Z. So that's that. And then the latest KMA has kind of been a little more confused again. And let's see what the 00Z says. It goes south. See, that's just a weird run. I mean, you almost don't believe it. It starts on Tuesday here, and then it goes south. So yeah, that's an erroneous run for sure. There's yesterday's 12Z. So when I talk about flip flopping, holy crapola. Here's one run of the KMA lifting up, and then the next run it does completely opposite. So you kind of just have to go with the gut feeling of. And then there was a run before, so 2 runs it does that, and then out of the blue it does that. So you kind of throw it out the window a little bit. I want to go to Weather Nerds though. I want to talk about more things about things. Let's talk about things. Hey, David, yeah, we're going to talk about all the conditions ahead of why I think this thing could be bad. And we'll go from there. Yeah, we still got a discount for Furman. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Furman, one of our great friends here. Top right part of our screen. If you click the 30%, it automatically gets applied. And free shipping. You can't beat it. 30% off plus free shipping. Click the link and it automatically applies. How about that? Bay County, Chrissy, oh boy. Chris Hargis, good question. They do quote models all the time. When the NAC starts doing discussions, almost 99% of their discussion is this. The GFS and Euro are doing this. The UK and the CMC are doing this, so we split the middle. I swear that's what they say. I mean, I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying they give their reasoning in their discussions on what the models are doing. So it's fascinating to read the NHC discussions because they talk about modeling so much. Yeah, Hellcat. What's up, man? Yeah. I think my oak tree is leaking because I got a lot of sap on my oak tree stuff. So, but yeah. So at this point, God Almighty, what are we gonna? I mean, we just gotta sit back and wait. It stinks. You would just hope that things would have made more clear now that we're within 7 days. David, it's hard to really, be like pinning the tail on the donkey, right? Jennifer, Ensemble show Peninsula a lot, yep, but the individual runs are all over the place. That's just the way it is, and that's you start to believe some and you start to not believe others, and you just kind of watch for trends and read the NHC wording, and they're kind of that's a big yellow circle or orange circle now, and it's showing development here in the next week somewhere in this orange area. That's the really only thing we got solid. and that's been wrong in the past too, so. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, Spaghetti Model IPA. Well, this weekend, Tronzy Bit, they're going to be selling at Tampa Bay Brewing Company, Oldsmar. And then ABC's getting their batches soon. Oh, poor me. All right, so we'll read a couple more things I want to show you here before we get going off. It could be a dud. It could. But, I'll tell you why I don't think so in a little bit. All right. And then, the season's peak season was just 9 days ago. All right. A lot of folks think the season's over when fall and football starts up, you know. But hey, while I got everybody, me and Shelly were talking. We had another booking of our cabin. We have our 4th annual cruise coming up. It's a good time when everybody's watching. We're about 3/4 full on the brand new Utopia of the Sea. So if you like cruising, click on that link and get a hold of Kim Shipley, and she'll hook you up. 256 days away, and I am so ready. We've had 3 hurricanes already hit the continental U.S., okay? I know the season seems slow. We might have 4 next week. That's an above average year, believe it or not. I know we haven't had the number of names yet, but, you know. All right, so we're going to talk about this. All right, so obviously my Google ads here, I was looking at tents. I love Google ads. Google ads, they can be tricky, though. Don't be doing weird searches, and then somebody goes on your computer and they'll see some weird Google ad, and they'll be like, well, that's what you were searching for. All right. So these are the latest, let's look at the latest GFS ensembles here and put them in motion, and we'll explain a little bit about timing and stuff. I hope it works. His website was getting overrun here a little bit ago. It's stuck. I mean, probably everybody in the world's on Weather Nerds right now. Morgan, it is awesome. We've had 3 of them now. Darn it. Come on. Come on. Oh, you can do it. There it goes. All right. Cool. So, how do you read these darn things? All right. So, let's show you. So, we put them in motion. And I'm sure his server is like, all right, here we go. Stop. All right. All right, so when you start to see the little L's, remember, so there's 31 members of the GFS. And how you read these things is this. When you see these L's, that's where it's going to be at on Monday morning. Monday morning, there's already a bunch of little L's here popping up. Reminds me of our alligators that we just had born. We have gators in our little lake in the back. We love our alligators. Weird, right? Mama gator was hanging out over there by the bushes for weeks, and then guess what? I thought I saw something over there. I walked over there, and like 30 of these little things started running in the water and started making the weirdest noise, like wah, 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 wah. They were baby alligators. Had to be 30 of them, 20, 30, at least about 20 of them at least. My God, I was like, what the heck? And then here comes Mama. Mama comes flying over. What are you doing? Only 2 survived, I read, out of that 20. Sad. Kind of sad, actually. So when you see these L's, this is where the GFS thinks some low pressure can be developing. All right, then we go to Tuesday. Like I said, it's about a day later than it was yesterday. Now, we get into Wednesday morning here. Here's Wednesday morning. All right, so next week, Wednesday morning. So we're starting to see a couple camps here, a couple thinking. We got, don't worry about this mess over here. That's nothing. We're starting to see some get strong and pull to the north Wednesday. Worst case scenario, you know, we could start to see Wednesday, midweek next week, getting awfully close to somebody if one of these were to verify. But the general thinking is this is Thursday morning. We're starting to see a little more clumping here Thursday morning. And then here's Friday morning. And we're already seeing possibility of East Coast action. Still 988 pressure, 966. So yeah, it could still be strong going over that East Coast a little bit. And this is the latest 00Z. No, wait a minute. Yeah, these aren't the 6Zs. This is the one that had a more eastern bias, but it's still important to explain what they mean and what this L here means and how to read it. This could be Wednesday night. And then we have some delaying down here. But the general flow, you can kind of get a feeling of what that was thinking. All right, so let's wonder why the 6Z didn't load. Let me go to the 6Z cycle here. The 6Z just came out. Maybe they haven't finished running yet. 6Z is a little more scattered upper Gulf, but the 12Z will be more important to look at because it's a little better data. I might not be able to look at it here. I think his server is really slow. Nope, it came up. Okay. So the difference, all right, these are 6Z. 6Z is a little more west with an eventual turn north. Here is our starting point here next Monday, low pressure. A little more high pressure, maybe a little bit more high pressure. There's a little bit more west on some of these, and then they're starting to turn a little bit. This could be as early as Thursday, early. I know it looks like crap, but it's not really, believe it or not. You can learn a lot with this stuff. So there's just a little more, obviously, Gulf spread in the 6Z. With that, back to some weaker ones that don't do anything. But typically, this area breeds systems. So I'm cautious on that scenario. And then the Euro, kind of, even though the operational run is still all over the place, the Euro is still kind of. This will be a good one. This is a 90 hour. So here's the latest Euro 6Z. It didn't go out that far, but it's basically showing you this Tuesday night into Wednesday. There's your low pressure starting to take shape. And it's starting to pull a couple of them north. This is Wednesday morning. Overnight Wednesday morning, actually, like 1 in the morning Wednesday. So we can spot trends with ensembles too. So if we kind of fix our little brains right here and see this general clumping of low pressure area for Wednesday 06Z, we'll now look at the 00Z and see what it was thinking overnight if it has the same clumping of lows about the same timestamp. And we got to run them. So let's go to Wednesday. Wednesday 6Z. Oh gosh, I forget how to read this thing. Maybe the same. Maybe the new one's a little faster. But anyway. So here's Wednesday. Here's Wednesday. There's the weaker systems going west, stronger systems north. Two camps thinking on the Euro. Stronger system gets pulled north. Weaker system obviously goes west. So that's kind of where the Euro's at. And again, this scenario could still ultimately be rough because the next weekend, that low pressure could linger and possibly lift something up. So be an odd setup, but that's, if you're wondering why we're getting some western look to it, it's because it stays weak, there's high pressure, then it might develop a little bit to pull north. So that might be the only trend in the models is another option. Option A, development, pull to the north, pull to the east. Option B, weaker west, then eventual pull north and to the east. But the main thing is we got this area circled by the NHC. Could see development in 7 days. Then it gets real. So that is that. A couple of things I have pulled up here. I want to show this map again. This is just kind of neat. This is historical from 1949 to 2023. This is for this same exact week in history, September 21 to September 30th. Doesn't mean anything except a lot of times Mother Nature repeats herself, just to kind of show you majority of times systems that I wish the colors were synced to the dots, but they're not. But you can obviously see an upper to eastern Gulf historical range or weaker west into Mexico. But this part of the, this part here seems very unlikely based on history. You see a lot more of that than you do that. So that's why those models seem a little weird. Hey man, there's a first for everything, right? But I always like to look at history. And this time of year, this is where we look. End of September, early October. CAG systems. All right, so why is this thing could be rough? Tropical tidbits here. Water anomaly. Water temperatures are hot. No doubt about that. It's the water sea surface temperature maps here showing Eastern Gulf is cool because of Beryl, because of Debbie, because of Ernesto, because of Alberto, Francine. But the Eastern Gulf and Lower Caribbean is smoking hot. So that's one thing that would help this thing get going. Ocean heat content is a water temperature below the surface, and today's analysis is back. It's the hottest it's been since 13. This is your 10-year or 11-year average line in blue of what the ocean heat content has been in the Gulf of Mexico. So that water's hot. That's another reason that something could get going. A lot of moisture. Heat builds thunderstorms and moisture. We have this passing phase of the MJO. Unfortunately, timing is right here, September 26th and early October. So this right here is green. And green usually means lifting air and easier for storms to develop. So anytime you see green, usually storms have an easier time to get going. Here's a little graphic on the MJO and what it exactly means. When we have this pulse of energy that comes in, rising air occurs when it's green. Thunderstorms can develop. And when we have a sinking pattern, it's the opposite. Kind of squashes the thunderstorm development with sinking air, rising air, sinking air. So we're in a rising air pattern, stormy and wet. Stormy and wet. Here's those loop currents. I talk about these all the time. Loop eddies, loop currents. Whatever happens, there's a lot of hot water. A lot of this stuff ends up fueling these systems. So if we get something that tries to develop right here, it's just, especially if it lingers right here, there's just a lot of extra flowing heat. That this guarantees the hot water will not run out. So anytime you get a slow developing system, it definitely feeds off of this warm Gulf Stream that originates down here in the Caribbean. So that's hot water flowing that keeps showing up. So it has that. And your overall vertical wind shear is, normally our average here in September, October is the lowest of the season. That's why we have most hurricane season is in this area here, because we have the lowest wind shear typically. But where we're at right now, it's low. It's lower than normal. So overall, and part of that could be argued due to La Nina, but that's where we're normally at. So these are all things that I see that it has going for it to try to develop. We'll see, right? We'll see. That's all I got to say about that. So, right. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I wish I knew more. I wish I could make a guess. I still believe Upper Gulf, Eastern Gulf, been that feel from day one, just based on history alone. But a lot of model support showing that possibility. And this is definitely important to show. This is from NOAA. They believe formation here. A lot of red on this map. This one's eventually looks like it's going to curve also, this little guy right there. But this is just high chances they think development right here in the Yucatan. So that's it. We'll know more later, right? There's no more dust. Dust in the wind. Let's put it on the animated water vapor loop. That would be cool, right? Right. A lot of questions on models. Listen, that's kind of why you take a blend of models. I think every season defines models that are good and bad. This year, the GFS has been better than the Euro. Like I was saying, when you read the NHC discussions when there's a storm, they actually talk about that in great detail. The early forecasts of Michael was only expected to be a tropical storm 5 days out. The first cone of Michael, it was expected to be a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm. And they talked about the global models, the GFS, Euro, that they were showing wind shear. And so they quote the models a lot. They go off the models a lot. Now we have these higher resolution hurricane models that are really good at indicating strengthening systems. So I'll never forget Ian. Ian, very passionate storm to me. The GFS that year was terrible, and all the hurricanes that year were terrible, or GFS was terrible, and it kept skewing the cone. And Saturday morning it had the cone going to the Panhandle, and it was the only model showing that. But the NHC incorporates the GFS in their cone, so it made the cone show the Panhandle, and people's perceptions were that center line, and not the cone itself. And I remember they had some discussion where they said they, were taking the GFS out of the equation. All of a sudden, the cone shifted big time, right? So you can learn a lot from these individual model runs, and when you see model swings and stuff. So I think what we got is high confidence something's going to try to develop in that Yucatan Gap, and it's going to be some possibly strong hurricane in the Gulf. There's a lot of models showing it. I mean, less time over water, and if it scoots up north fast like the GFS at one time showed in the Canadian, then it might not have a chance to become anything too strong. But 2 days, man, Ian was 55 miles an hour on Monday, and it was like 155 on Wednesday, right? It does, storms only need a couple days. Once they establish that spin, man, you can't until it gets formed. But once they're formed, man, we could have, you always worry about rapid intensification in the Gulf of Mexico. It's happened before, it'll happen again. And that's not hype. Trust me. Anyway, we don't say the word Michael. I know, I hate saying that word, Michael. It's a terrible storm. And I agree with the official forecast. Until we have something, there's no point in speculating. But so, if you're worried, don't be aware. That's about it. Listen, more than ever, man. Listen, more than ever, people are turning off the news. It's crazy. People told me with Michael that they saw the first few forecasts, they stopped watching. They just assumed it was going to be a tropical storm. Every storm, I hear that from people. People down in Fort Myers told me the same thing. They saw that cone on Saturday. They were like, it'll be all right. Next thing you know, it's hitting them on Wednesday. And that doesn't give you a lot of prep time if you think on a Saturday that it's going to hit the Panhandle and it's coming down on you early Wednesday morning. That's like, and so if you turn the news off for a couple days, now it's Monday, and then Tuesday you're like, holy crap. So I think it's important to know these timestamps, possibilities, and mentally prepare, and don't put up your 12-foot skeleton, because I don't want that falling on my Charger. Hey, by the way, yesterday's storms in Florida were really intense. I use the HRR a lot, this model right here, HRR. And I got a link to Tropical Tidbits there, and I use it a lot on other sites. But when you click on the HRR, it defaults to Southeast. You can change your region. But this model updates every hour, and it's phenomenal about flow more than anything. Daily flow. And we got 11 hours in the 13Z. If we go to the 12Z, we have 48 hours. And if you want to see what the weather pattern is today, guess what? Same as yesterday. Middle state storms, and they're going west to east. And there you go, watch. Boom. And you can see almost a repeat pattern as what we saw yesterday. So if you're wondering on the east coast of Florida, we could have a repeat. The flow is the same. Doesn't look like anything tomorrow, though. Tomorrow's a little better. It's that front that came through. We actually got a cold front that came through Florida. Look at this. Dry air, look at that. You're just getting a little bit of leftovers, but there's your front. That's the moisture that could help feed into our developing system here in a couple of days. It's just going to linger down there. We call that a linguine front. Linguine. We keep the Italian theme alive here. So anyway, let's do a couple rain forecasts. Just kind of give an idea. Like, let's say the GFS is correct, or the Euro is correct. So let's look at GFS just to kind of show you what kind of rains we could be seeing here. If we get those big numbers. This is all track dependent, obviously, but you know, what the hell? Not doesn't show much. What's going on here? It's a hurricane with no rain. No, it's just not going out far enough yet. That's the problem. That's a lot of rain there, though. Holy cow. Oh, so that's, you know, there's a big rain in that sucker there. Obviously, we know there'd be a lot of rain. Yeah, here's that one run that was end of the weekend. Obviously, that's really far west, but just to show you the rains that could extend out of this thing. Purple's double digits, so. Oh, there we go. There's the rains on the OOZ run. Showing you inland rains in the following early part of the week, but you know, double digit rains. So flooding's always a huge, hell man, look at that, 48 inches somewhere. I don't think that's over land, but somewhere along the journey it's showing 48 inches somewhere in the Gulf. The Gulf is going to rise. Sea level rise in the Gulf because of 48 inches of rain. Of course, the Euro's not showing anything, so just kind of shows you tropical systems have a lot of rain, but a little early for that. So, anyway, all right, so that's all we got. I wish we knew more. We're within a week now. This thing could start developing as early as Monday, Tuesday, so we are within a week of that. Timeline, timestamps. So if you're curious about models, the icon runs around 11 Eastern. GFS starts running around 11:30 Eastern, along with the Canadian. Euro runs around 1:30 Eastern. We'll get a new NHC update around 2 p.m. Eastern, sometimes a little earlier. And we'll do it all over again. So what does red mean? What are you talking about? What's red? Red's a lot of rain. What do you mean red? Red what? I do believe that Euro's the outlier, Michael. So that's it. What's my gut say? God, I wish I would I don't want to throw a wild guess out there right now. I still think Eastern Gulf. I just don't. I just look at history. I look at where it could possibly be forming. I see that front coming down. You know, every season is defined by something, and this year has been the year of the front since Debbie. We've been seeing cold fronts coming into play, and that's, you know, that's kind of where we're at. You know, that front's strong. Then there's a better likelihood of this thing lifting to the north middle of next week. Here's next Wednesday. Let's go to Thursday. So there's our front. Starting to see our system pop into play here. Typically fronts open the door. This is next Thursday. Notice all the moisture here that's still from our old front right here. See that? That is going to help feed our developing system. So a lot of this juice will actually end up wrapping in towards our developing low pressure. It just doesn't look like there'll be a very strong high pressure system right there, but so yeah, that's nothing's really changed on my end. I just want to point out there has been some west west bumps on some of the models, and we'll see what the afternoon models do. But we're within a week now. It's getting close. Steph Smith, definitely every day that goes by, things get clearer, you know. Again, it's like my thinking is we're within a week here, so we should talk a little more about these realities, you know. I mean, I'm very curious in the 12Z Ensemble run for the GFS. It seems like the 18Z and 6Z are the not so confident runs. Let's show you the last several Ensemble runs here for the GFS. So there's the latest 6Z, and there's a clumping. If you just kind of get it going, you know, you kind of got a feeling. And then last night's run obviously was heavily skewed eastern side. Yesterday's 18Z, kind of eastern side. Yesterday's 12Z, really eastern side. Yesterday's 6Z, way more scattered. So if anything, things are getting a little more clear. There's another 00Z day ago. I mean, so the GFS, wow, it's definitely trended though. This is a good little map to show. This is 3 or 4 days ago. So just what, look at 3 days ago, it showed almost no strong system at all. Look at the evolution here through the timestamps. This is as we go through modeling. We had a little bit of, you know, so 12Z hopefully is clear somewhere. What a change though, right? Look at that. From there, so it has been a crazy 3 days, showing a little bit more confidence on a stronger system. Okay, let's do the same thing for the Euro here. So here is the latest Euro tracks. Let's go back as far as we can. Oh, image not available. What's up with that? There we go. All right. Same thing. Look at this. That's a really cool thing. I've never done this before. This is 3 days ago ensembles on the Euro. You can see no red. That's really showing nothing. So look at how the Euro's evolved. That's crazy, isn't it? I mean, that's a huge graphic to kind of learn from. This was just 3 days ago. Very few showing anything strong. And then yesterday we had a lot scatter, but then believe it or not, yesterday's 12Z kind of did that, but then we got more red. So just a little more chances of a stronger system, which makes more sense being where we're talking the Gulf and stuff. So that's a crazy cycle of GFS. So you can see where you can kind of learn where things are going. Maybe. Did I confuse you even more? I don't know. That's a weird obsession. Tropics, right? So anyway, I'm going to end it. We'll be live tonight at 8 p.m., okay? 8 p.m. Eastern time zone. I'm going to be live on The Bone today, 1025. You can watch it online. And then we'll be live at 8 p.m. So I did a poll yesterday. Here's the numbers. Let me show you my numbers. Since I read comments, you know, I worry sometimes I put too much content out and everybody goes, you know, loses all their hair. So I simply made a poll yesterday. Said, should I just stick to sharing National Hurricane Center graphics or should I share everything? I didn't think it was going to be this skewed. So 294 of you, which is fine. 294 people. 294 voted only share National Hurricane Center. 294. The ones that want me to share everything, 14,266. So we had 14,266 yeses and 294 no's. And for some reason, I read that 3% and I lose my mind. So I have to remember the 97%. But the 3% make the most noise. Why they hate the page. But I'm still smiling. I don't lose any sleep. So that I can assure you, right? So anyway, all right. There we go. All right, we'll see you all tonight, 8 p.m. Cheers.